Well, welcome to the Stone Roadie podcast. It's the one you don't want to miss. It stars Craig Reed, the Stone Roadie, and Griff, the rocket scientist. Let's not forget Kathy Godsey and all the old friends that come along. Lord, we'll be talking Skynyrd and leaving you with a song.
Everybody, time to rise and shine. I'm Shelby Barrett, the Stoned for the STONED Roadie Show, and it's time to wake and bake with Craig Reed and Griff Martin.
Good morning.
Podcast 143, Wake and Bake, the Stone Roadie Show action. Alrighty then, good morning, March 15th, 2024. Here on the Stone Roadie Show. My name's Craig Reed, a.k.a. the Stone Roadie, and this is my co-host, the rocket scientist, Griff Martin.
Well, we got a super fast podcast we're going to do today because Craig and I are both kind of wore out, and but it's going to be a good one, jam-packed, full. Anyway, yeah, a lot of great comments on the last podcast. We appreciate all the great comments, and then got something really cool to put on at the end of the podcast. You know, those Mike O'Harry audio tapes. A lot of people really like that. Speaking of the last podcast, the next one up is going to be Johnny Moat. Johnny Moat, he's the guy that was in the field when Artimus and Kenny Peden and God, who's my plane crash survivors?
Mark Frank.
Yeah, Mark Frank.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah, and it's a little bit freaky to listen to this. Anybody that's really close to any of the plane crash survivors that didn't make it, I suggest not to listen to this. Or had any bad experience with the plane crash because it's pretty graphic, but it's something that tells a story, and it's really good information that I think needs to get out. And Kent Griffith, the guy who gave me the tape, suggests that we do it. So I think he's got a good handle on what we should put out and what we shouldn't. So we're going to go ahead and do it. And I asked Craig about it, and he said, let's do it. So you guys stick around for that audio, the Johnny Moat, and yeah, it tells a really good story about the plane crash. So then earlier today or this morning, I looked at all the comments that I put on a post. I put a post up because a lot of people have been asking me recently, you know, what would Ronnie Van Zant think about this? And what would Ronnie Van Zant think about that? And so I put a post up, you know, that basically said, hey, if you have something that you want to know of what Craig's opinion of what Ronnie would think about something, put it up. So, you know, I'll ask Craig, I'll take the questions and I'll ask Craig. And, you know, a lot of people got that question screwed up because they started saying, you know, Ronnie would say, mind your own business. And, and Ronnie would say, just go home to mama and ask her and stuff like that, you know, which, we're looking for some comments on what Ronnie would think about things nowadays and stuff like that, what's going on and what Craig would think Ronnie's opinion would be of it, being as how Craig knew him very well. So we got some pretty cool comments, and I thought I would ask Craig some of these questions that I got.
Did you see? Hey, well, hold on. Did you see that comment? That question that our protege Grady asked. He said, "I heard Ronnie was going to date Cassie. Is that any truth to that?" And I went, "Not a chance, Grady."
Yeah, we got
never happened. That's a rumor, an incorrect rumor, by the way. But I got some donations here. We don't want to.
Oh yeah, cool. Let's go over the donations.
Well, Chris Eldridge, man, he's been sending in $50 a week here for the last few weeks, man. He sent in another $50 this week, man. Really appreciate it, Chris. Yeah, I told him I was going to send him a bunch of guitar picks, bunch of stickers, bunch of them stickers we got. I told him he was wanting a few of them, and I told him I was going to send him like 8 of them, and he reminded me today. He said, "Hey, I ain't got none of them stickers yet." LOL, because he watches the podcast and he knows nobody's got any of them yet. And James Cross, man, I went to the post office box today, and James Cross sent me $50, and I sent a donation for $50 for the Forgotten Survivors Fund. And he also sent a great big package. Man, you guys send these packages, it costs like $20-some to send a dang package through the mail. And it's got all kind of stuff. He said that he's had it for years and years, and he's enjoyed it. And he wanted to know if I wanted to auction it off on eBay and, help to fund the Forgotten Survivors Fund. He sent me about, 6 or 8 different, probably 8 or 10 different things, and one of them a couple of songbooks, Lynyrd Skynyrd songbooks, and some pamphlets they used to send out. Some really cool ones, some cool stuff. So thanks, James, for your $50 donation and those things you've been saving up all these years, and then James King sent in $50. So James, appreciate that. And let me see, he sent that in. I don't know what form he sent that, and got another one here somewhere. I don't know. Well, there's a $25 donation that's on here somewhere. I misplaced it, but it was for a sticker anyway. So, anyways, those stickers, that's a donation because it's that goes into the Survivors Fund. Okay, so that's all I got.
Yeah, and I kind of hate to bring this topic up, but there's a lot of people. My phone has been getting blown up, and I kind of jumped on somebody today, and I didn't really mean it to sound like that, but I know they're probably listening, and I apologize for that. But you don't know what I go through with my phone. People, texting me and stuff, and yeah, so sorry about that. Some people have my personal phone number, and I don't mind them texting me, but it's just a lot of crazy stuff happening, especially since the Pepper Pile thing. Craig is, wanting to give her some time to think about what she might want to say when she comes on, if she comes on, and it's leaning kind of towards she's wanting to. And
well, let me break Buddy in here. Well, there's a lot of people that want her to come on. I've had numerous people come on and say, "Man, I'd like to have her come on and set the record straight." People that are back Artimus and just tired of hearing this crap. People say this stuff, and then you say, "Man, that's not true." And people that don't even know, blah, 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 he did. It kind of makes you sick. So if you know Artimus, he's not capable of that. So man, they never knew anything about Pepper or anything, and so now that they know about it, they're going, "Wow, man, it'd be great if she could finally come on and set the record straight and let everybody know that didn't happen. It's probably not going to go back and settle anything in court, but at least public opinion will be straightened out. I from what I understand, there's a couple of people that have said, if she comes on, I'll be the first to apologize for thinking that way. I never have thought that way. I think it's pretty shitty for his friends to even consider that happened. You know, those so-called friends that were so-called friends of his that were supposed to be bandmates and associated with the band, that right away threw him under the bus. You know, to try to protect that money cow. You know, I'm firsthand, knowledge that, man, if you are close to that band and someone like me, and you're not attached to that money cow, man, they try to humiliate you and discredit you and do anything they can so they can control the narrative that they want to portray. And they threw Artimus under the bus, just like they threw me under the bus for those funeral brochures that I sold for on eBay for a noble cause to raise money there for this survivor or forgotten survivor fund, and they threw me under the bus, and then they threw me and Griff both under the bus for having the gall to have a function this time last year for Gary, during Gary's funeral. Oh, that was just, we ruined the whole atmosphere of Gary's funeral by doing that. We should just be ashamed of ourselves, and it turned about to be a major success. I mean, these people just, anything that I do or Artimus does or anybody that is not attached to that money cow, they just try to humiliate us and throw us under the bus, and they want to control the narrative of that money cow, and it's just bullshit,
Well, as far as Pepper Pyle coming, I mean, this was all her idea, and nothing to do with Craig wanting her to come on. As a matter of fact,
she contacted me. I mean, I put that post up, and she started commenting on it, and then she realized that from the way people were commenting to me that I must have some kind of association with him. So she contacted me and said, "Hey, who are you, and what was your association with these people?" And she was, shocked when I said, I was your dad's first drum roadie, and we used to also be real good friends and stuff. And I used to go up and see, your dad and his first wife Pat and Chris from Marshall when they lived up in South Carolina, years before you were thought of, But people want to see her come on, and they want her to, try to set the record straight, And
yeah, imagine
I wouldn't matter.
She's probably tired of hearing it, She wants to brag about her father, I'm sure, and things like. I mean, what do I know?
Yeah, she'd like to meet some of the other kids that are, with the band, associated with the band, Billy's kids, and she's met little Lee, and from what she told Chad, she said there was a guy that was an imposter for Leon's son, Lee, and he was running around saying he was Leon's son, and he went up and introduced himself to hers like he was Leon's son, and she didn't know any better. And then she met Leon's real son, said, "Oh, I met your brother," and he said, "What are you talking about? I don't have a brother." So yeah, it's kind of funny, I mean, I'm not funny in that way, but just funny in other ways.
Yeah. So we don't really know exactly, when she's going to come on, or for sure if she's going to come on, but it's up to her. And what she says, it all has to do with what she wants to say. So, we'll stay tuned for that one. And we don't even know if it's going to piss Artimus off, and because we don't talk to Artimus, and it's what she says, she'll deal with it. So So yeah, we
I
welcome
talk to
her.
him now and then.
Yeah.
I'm not alienated from Artimus. I talk to him occasionally. I haven't talked to him for a little bit, but
It's a touchy subject,
yeah,
touchy subject.
we don't talk about that. When I talk to him, I just talk about what he's doing on the road with his new band and stuff. It's about it. We don't.
But anyway, we'll let everybody know when the time comes that what's going to happen. So we'll go ahead and go through all these questions. It's basically kind of just a little something for people to get a little skin information, and this has to do with Ronnie. And we haven't talked about Ronnie in a while. Ronnie was a cool guy, and so I wrote these comments down, and a lot of interesting ones. Yeah, what would Ronnie think? Basically, what would Ronnie think? And so we got here. What would Ronnie say about concert tickets and how much they cost nowadays, Greg?
God Almighty knows. That's a good one.
This one girl says she wanted to go see Marshall Tucker, but it was $200, and her husband said no.
Yeah.
So what would Ronnie say about it?
Bands don't have a lot of control over ticket prices. You think they do, but they really don't have a lot of control over that. But ticket prices, that for all you're getting, when you used to go see a band, like Lynyrd Skynyrd back in the old days, we traveled in 2 trucks. One truck had sound and one truck had lights and band gear, And nowadays it's, you got to have 5 trucks, 4 or 5 buses and 5 trucks. And what Oliver Anthony last week said, his bus was $100,000 a month or something like that. He was talking about ticket prices, and he goes, "This bus is $94,000 a month." Or something like that. I don't know what they are anymore. I mean, 20. I don't know. I haven't been on the road for almost 20 years, so it's hard to tell what the heck, how much that stuff's gone up since I was on the road. But yeah,
he tries to keep the ticket prices down too, Oliver Anthony, and he said, I think he said that's kind of tough, 'cause
he says festivals, I have no control of it, but if it's his own private show, they're $25. That's what he said. But he says it's hard to do it at that, because expenses are so much, But he doesn't have a lot of band gear, and he don't have lasers and video and all
or
that.
even drums.
It's a 3. You used to go see a band. You saw the band, and you could hear them with the sound system, and they had what they used to call par cans with either red or green or blue lights in them that turned on and off, and you had a couple of spotlights out in the crowd, and that was it, and now, like I say, now it's video and pyro and God, it's just it's a 3-ring circus, and there's 2 couple truckloads of lights and. It's and a whole state. A whole truck was just full of the stage that they carry around the props. All the props.
Yeah, Oliver Anthony. They didn't even have any monitors on stage. They used earpieces.
Yeah.
Instead of and usually if I'm on stage videotaping somebody, I kind of count on those monitors for my sound, and I didn't get good quality sound because they didn't have any monitors.
Oh, well, you can't be perfect all the time.
No, you can't be perfect. Yeah. So what would Ronnie say about the high ticket prices, Greg? What would he say about that?
That's a good. You know what? That's a pretty good question. I imagine he would be, like we all are, just amazed at how much stuff costs. I went to the post office today. It was 68 cents. I goes, God, I remember when it was 3 cents. And as soon as I walked in, they said, "Hey, Craig might know this. Hey, Craig, what did they call people before the baby boomers?" And I said, well, before baby boomers, they would call you dead because you're not alive anymore. I don't think there was a name for anybody, you know. You call them old people, that's for sure. You know, I'm a baby boomer.
Yeah, one of these days we'll be a dying breed, and we won't be around anymore to be picked on. Speaking of things that are a little touchy to talk about. Who would Ronnie like politically, Trump or Biden? I'll go ahead and answer that. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, you know what? I mean, speaking for myself, I'm behind the person that's behind us, you know, and just looking to see what Biden does. I don't see where he's for the people, by the people, or anything like that. And I can't see how anybody else does, you know. And, you know, I just don't know how we got to the point where we're paying all these taxes, you know. And, you know, we hire these people, well, you know, we elect them to take care of us, and they act like they're royalty or something. They go, you know, this is, you know, the people that we hire think they are our bosses. Now, well, you're going to pay tax. You're going to pay tax. My God, that's what the Tea Party was all about, taxation without representation. My God, you're going to have to pay a tax to take a shit. Well, you do. You pay sewer tax. You got to pay tax to take a shit. My God. I don't. I have a septic tank.
Well, that's not the only thing they're doing is taxes. They've got some sneaky, underhanded corruption things, and I don't think Ronnie would be very happy with the situation at hand. I don't know if he'd like Trump or not. He might not like him, but I know he wouldn't like the B man.
Oh my God! You know, it's crazy.
Because I know he had good.
Well, you know, he did. You know, he did back. Well, he didn't back him. The peanut farmer. I guess he thought he was cool because he was a Georgia and he was a peanut farmer. Yeah, Farmer Carter. Yeah, and we were supposed to play that gig down in Jacksonville, and Carter was supposed to show up, and he didn't show up, so Ronnie didn't play. You know, and you know, I think that was the scenario there. Ronnie said he was sick, but I just think that he just said, "Man, if you ain't gonna show up, I ain't gonna play." And that was a riot. That turned into a riot, man. They wanted Charlie Daniels to go ahead and headline, and because Skynyrd wasn't playing, and Charlie said, "I don't want no part of that shit, man." That's
wow.
A riot. Oh yeah, in Jacksonville, yeah, go out there. Yeah, they ain't playing. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
I went through one of them when Ronnie couldn't sing, and
yeah. And when you were talking about Rossington Collins was known for not showing up, and I was thinking, man, Ronnie would. I don't think he'd have put up with that, but you know, that is a disappointment when somebody doesn't show up.
Yeah, I don't want to get real specific about what was going on why the shows got canceled, because you know, I just don't want to go there at this point in time.
Then we got it's more of a question than it was what would Ronnie think? And somebody asked, why was Ronnie's body moved at the cemetery? And you know, his widow.
You know what? I ain't got a problem with that. A lot of people, man, there's people that get all emotional and stuff about all this stuff. But I think, you know, I kind of was against it until I saw it.
Yeah, it's a great.
Wow,
place.
This is beautiful. Same way with Gene Odom. You know, I think Gene Odom said the same thing. And he was, you know, thought it was kind of shitty, but then when he got over there and he was standing there at Ronnie's grave and looked around and he goes, "Man, this is cool."
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
well, I ain't got an issue with that, man. Not at all. You know.
No. Man, I don't think. Well, there's a lot of people that do, but it's really probably.
No, it's a nice, beautiful place where she put him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great place.
With that.
And here's a good question: what would Ronnie say about the tribute bands?
I don't think he'd have a problem with it. I mean, you know,
I think he would.
I think he would. Yeah, man. There's some. I mean, Sparky and Damon, and Peter Keys and Michael Carlone, and Ricky's still there, and his Johnny. That's what Ronnie wanted. I mean, Ronnie always said, somehow it was one of these days Johnny's going to be singing my songs, and damn if he wasn't right. He was some kind of a soothsayer, He knew he wouldn't live to be 30, and he knew Johnny would carry on. And damned if that didn't happen. Maybe he was some kind of an apostle or something,
Yeah, I mean, if I heard a story. One guy, he built my TV stand, and he did a Jimmy Buffett tribute band, and he said Jimmy Buffett came down, and I always thought Jimmy Buffett was cool. I even met him and talked to him, and he was cool to me. But Jimmy Buffett lost it on that tribute band that he walked in that bar down in Miami. He didn't like the tribute bands. I guess he felt like they were taking money out of his pocket. So anytime he saw a tribute band, now I could be wrong. So let's look at the comments. Anybody know anything about that? Leave a comment. But this particular guy said he wasn't fond of it. But I think Ronnie would be, don't you, Craig? Ronnie probably
he wouldn't have a problem with it, man. Him and he liked Ricky. I mean, Johnny, his brother, like I said, his brother's up there singing his songs, and he's keeping it alive. I don't think Ronnie would have a problem with it. My God, Damon, John, he's been in, my God, he was in Alice Cooper. I love Alice Cooper, man. I kind of know him, so he's from this area.
Well, the last few years ago, I went to the Lynyrd Skynyrd concert, and there's nothing wrong with that band. They do a great job. They did
a great at New Year's Eve. They did a really good job there at Nashville. In the weather conditions that they played, they did an unbelievable job. It was great, man. It was that was something to be proud of for them. For them to play a New Year's Eve thing, a prime time, New Year's Eve on, and they, the band's been gone 50 years, and they're in Nashville. You got all the, Taylor shit down there. You'd think maybe she would do it. I guess some people down in Nashville don't like her very much anymore, though. Got her and Garth Brooks in the same box.
Oh yeah, Garth is about done. I think he's taking a bad hit. But yeah, so they're okay. That's what Craig's got to say about Ronnie and the tribute band. I think they kind of meant all tribute bands, but the big one's the tribute band with his brother singing. So I think Ronnie would be proud of him. Craig, I agree with Craig.
Now the management and the way somebody that he knows real well is handling that situation, I don't think he would like that. We're the shit, but
there you have it. There you have it. Yeah,
I don't think he would dig that. We're the shit, but everything else.
And here's a great question, Craig. At the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, being as how Ronnie wasn't able to get up there and give thanks to anybody, who do you think he would give thanks to if he got up there? This person mentions probably Al Cooper.
Well, yeah, that's he would have given, Jimmy Johnson, he kind of was the first person that got it going, and
there's a lot of players that were involved that helped get them out.
Yeah, there were people that got involved with that, and got it going. It's not what
how great
do, sometimes,
And how great would it have been to be able to see Ronnie up on stage, and accepting the award for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? That would have been awesome. Yeah,
I think he'd have give some credit to Bill Graham too. He was Bill Graham was a real cool guy, man. You know, he really liked Lynyrd Skynyrd. You know,
Yeah.
he liked that whole Bill Graham organization.
And those stickers that you're giving away, that's a Bill Graham sticker.
Yeah,
isn't it?
those are Bill Graham. Yeah, those are Randy Tootin, and he was the main artist for Bill Graham. He did those. Yeah, those are those will be collector's items.
Yeah, pretty cool stickers. You guys send in your email to Craig.
Never know.
Then we got somebody was asking, would Ronnie be doing mainly country now, do you think, Craig?
Well, he wouldn't be doing rap, I don't think. Yeah, he probably would. He'd probably try to be hooked up with whoever's, still alive in the country market that he, Merle Haggard.
Then somebody asks, what would Ronnie say about all this technology with cell phones and things like that? I know if he's
I can see the concrete slowly creeping. Lord, take me in mind before that comes. There you go.
That was the comments I got off of Facebook, and then these are comments I got off of Messenger, and somebody sends me a message, and they said, "Ask Craig, would Ronnie be fat?"
Oh, I don't know. He was starting to gain some weight. I don't know. I thought, it's hard to say. Some people gain weight and then they realize that they're not doing. They could do better and they lose weight like I did, man. I was out of my mind and okay, Leon, come on. Gained a bunch of weight and finally got my shit together and lost it.
Yeah, I remember a story. Gene and I were over where he lives over there in Inverness at this place called Stump Knockers. It's a restaurant, and Gene told me he told Ronnie, he said, "Ronnie, you're getting fat. You need to go into another waist size." And Ronnie said, "No." He said, "No, I'm not going into another waist size. It'll have to hang over." I'm not getting it. I'm not bumping up. I'm going to train it to hang over. That sounds like something Ronnie would say.
Well, when you're on the road like that constantly, and and that kind of lifestyle, and and you're drinking that, that booze got a lot of sugar in it, man, and
it's fattening.
And your diet isn't good. You're not getting the right kind of sleep, and all that stuff adds to it. And it's hard. It's difficult. Yeah.
Then it makes you want to smoke a cigarette. I remember going out with my friends. They start drinking. They start smoking twice as much. I never did smoke cigarettes. I didn't think it was very tasty to me.
I only smoked when I drank, but the problem was I was always drinking.
Then we got somebody that says, wants to know, where do you think Ronnie would be living now? Would he still be in Jacksonville, or do you think he would have?
Oh, man, I don't know. God.
I think he probably.
If I could think like Ronnie, I'd write songs.
Johnny's still there, so why wouldn't Ronnie? Johnny and Donnie, his brothers, are there, so he'd probably be there. I'd say he'd stay in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I imagine he still would be there. I don't think he'd move to Hollywood. I don't think there's anything out there for him.
And then this wasn't. What do you think Ronnie would say? This is. Do you think Ronnie would have made appearances on TV shows and maybe a movie? I could see that. Ronnie playing in a Western.
Yeah. God, man, I don't know all that. It's those are all under speculation, I guess.
Yeah. Something to think about, and then how many more great bands would there be had Ronnie not been on that plane? He was prepping Joe Crimp's band, Running Easy.
Oh
They
God,
probably
yeah, he
would
was
have
a
been,
talent scout, man. Yeah, he was another Al Cooper, man. He was a talent scout. Yeah, he discovered um Molly Hatchet, and he was the one that opened the door for the Outlaws, and off the top of my head, that's all I can.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there would have been more to come.
38 Special, I think, probably got a good start, and then Blackfoot, all them bands in the South. Once Lynyrd Skynyrd was in the plane crash, that's when everybody, the public was looking to replace Lynyrd Skynyrd with something, and they, moved toward the Outlaws and Blackfoot and 38 and that whole thing, in my opinion.
Here's a good one. This is gonna stir it up a little bit. What would Ronnie say about all the arguing that's going on between the band members and all the controversy that's been caused since the plane crash? What would he have to say about that?
Oh boy, yeah. I don't know. That's
I think he'd be disappointed, don't you?
well, yeah, the whole, that whole thing, man. All of a sudden Ronnie's gone, and now the person that's holding all the strings to what they can do isn't in the band, and making most of the money. I mean, Billy even told me, man, he said it sucks, that he said we're making all this money on merchandising, and all of us, 7 of us, are splitting it with one other person who's who holds all the cards, and they're not even in the band. It sucks when you're out there busting your ass, and somebody that's not even in the band, that was the wife of the singer that died, now controls everything, and that's a situation that sucked.
Well, I mean, had he lived, things would certainly be different. I'm sure he wouldn't let things go on the way they're going now. That's for sure. But kind of like to see all that stuff, straighten out one day soon.
That ain't gonna happen as long as that money cow is there. I mean, it's a money cow, man. It's the band like Johnny and Ricky and all the band members, Damon and Sparky and all those guys, they're up there for the right reason, but the management and other people affiliated with it, it's just a money cow that they want to control, and it's people are making good money from it,
And another person asks, what would Ronnie say about the Hell House property being a housing development now?
I don't know. I would imagine he would have bought that piece of property out there.
I think he'd think it's pretty cool. All the streets are named after songs and albums.
Oh
and
man,
things.
yeah.
It's it's one thing you have to say about that neighborhood. They did name streets after Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Oh
stuff, so.
yeah.
So
I like
cool.
the way it was like Tuesday's Gone, and the way the train came in there, and it was like they got that train there, and Tuesday's Gone, all that kind of meet together. Yeah, it's real cool the way they got it laid out.
And I think there's one street in there called Freebird. It's the main drag, and they said they got to replace that. People keep stealing it.
I would imagine, yeah.
Especially, well, I mean, since they closed it and you can't get in there now because they put the gate locked the gate, but that sign was getting stolen all the time.
Well, it's like the sign down at, isn't the one in Mississippi, the Lynyrd Skynyrd Memorial thing, doesn't that get stolen all the time?
Oh, I don't know. Probably.
I think they were saying that it kept getting stolen, the Lynyrd Skynyrd Memorial sign.
And then somebody asked, do you think Ronnie would be in touch with all the plane crash survivors still?
Oh my God, yeah. Shit, yeah.
I think so. I definitely think he'd probably be checking on all of them, I think.
There used to be a connection between the band and the crew. I can't really speak, but what I do know is when the new management, I was still there when the new management took over, and we went on our first European tour, and the first gig we went to, the crew were just, the Skinner's management lied to us, and they told us all this shit. They lied to us, and I was used to the original band where Ronnie would want to hear that, so I called, the appropriate people, and they didn't want to hear it. They said that, that the management does that. Well, Ronnie wouldn't have said that. He would have went over there and said, what the hell's going on? So yeah, it's a whole different animal than it used to be.
Yeah, I think Ronnie would be controlling the management instead of management controlling Ronnie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things would, had Ronnie lived, things would be totally different, and there'd be a lot more great music out there too, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There'd be many, many more hits out there.
Yeah.
Just like John Lennon, if he'd have lived, there'd have been many, many more hits. And
there wouldn't be people out there paying their own hospital bills either.
Yeah, in their old age, all crippled up. But we appreciate the donations people are sending in.
Oh my God, yeah.
And we've got some more stuff that we're going to auction off. And we probably ought to put that Dobro up pretty soon, Craig, and see what we can get for that. And we got these pictures back here, and so we're working it, right?
Yeah, I keep getting people sending me stuff, to auction off,
Yeah.
But
all right, Craig, let's wrap this up, man. Going into the Johnny Mote interview with Mike O'Hara. And what's cool about this Mike O'Hara kid, and I don't know what year it was that he did these interviews. I'll have to get with Kent and find a little bit more about that. But he was actually doing it for a thesis, I guess, in college. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so I think that's why these guys were more open to talk to him about what happened, because it was a college paper, a thesis, and you can hear he's not like a polished interviewer or anything, but he's asking some great questions, and this Johnny Mote, it's he's kind of laid back and a little bit matter of fact, and you'll have to see when you listen to it. It's kind of crazy. But like I said, if you're a little squeamish about the aircraft accident that involved Lynyrd Skynyrd, do not listen to it. But if you're okay with it, then I would say it's going to be a lot of great information, and you're going to learn some things. And thank you, Kent Griffith, for turning that loose to us. So with that, Craig, let's wrap it up, man.
All righty, it's I just want to wish y'all, I'm just looking at the clock, happy 420.
Yeah, it's like that Jimmy Buffett song, 5 o'clock somewhere. Craig says it's always 420.
It's gonna be 420, yeah. Sometime. It's definitely wake and bake time on the Stone Roadie show, and it's time for that morning buzz. Of course, I've been doing that for a little bit here. Anyways, but yeah, enough jibber jabber. This has been podcast 143 of the Stone Roadie Show, or number 26 of the Wake and Bake Morning Buzz. And that's a wrap. Cut.
Hello?
Hello, Mr.
Yeah.
Moat.
Who?
Is this Mr. Moat?
Yeah.
My name is Michael Hara. I'm a university student in Toronto. I'm doing a thesis on the Lynyrd Skynyrd band.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you might, if it's okay, if it brings back bad memories or anything, then we don't have to talk about it.
No, it doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother? Okay.
No.
Could you, I guess, I know Artimus, I guess, came to you. Artimus Powell, the drummer.
Yeah, there was 3 of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
They were. I know Artie was one of them.
Yeah, Artimus and Kenny and somebody else, but,
Yeah.
like, did you walk there or drive or?
Well, we walked.
You-
Well, I walked when it crashed. You know, I didn't know where it was. They told me where it was. And I went down there trying to find it, and the rescue the rescue copter couldn't find it. So I was down there on foot for a long time trying to. When I found it, then I was trying to show them where it was. Well, I was trying to get them down. Couldn't get them down, so I came back, and when I got back up here and got in my truck, there was a lot of people. Well, there was a good many people around, and I took a couple of them back and went back down there. But when I got back down there, then there were some people that had just found it too. So.
Okay. What was stupid question, but what was it like? You know, the theme, like the plane itself. Was it one piece, two piece?
You couldn't tell it was a plane.
You couldn't tell it was a plane.
No, the only thing that would even tell you it was a plane was the tail section. It's the only thing that was intact. Everything else was totally demolished. It was just a big pile of, it's just a big pile of metal. It looked sort of like I don't know, it was like a tube, maybe a piece of a tube laying there, and that's where we found most of the people. It was just jumbled up so bad you really couldn't tell what it was, though.
Really?
It was torn in a lot of pieces, you know. It went, I think, 475 feet through the trees.
475.
I think that's what it was.
Wow.
Yeah. I forget which one it was that came up here.
It was Artimus, apparently,
Yeah, no,
according to him, and Kenny Pedden or something of that nature, and Mark Frank, I believe.
One of them was hurt. I don't know how bad he was hurt, but I remember he was real bloody. Well, all of them were bloody, you know, a little bit bloody. They were wicked looking when I first saw them. Artie had a beard like down to his waist, you know.
Yeah, he, yeah. Like, so they came up, the 3 of them came up, like, all I've got is a little paragraph, more or less, stating that 3 of them came up to your farm.
Right.
And you thought they were convicts or something, you fired a shotgun in the air?
Yeah, there was,
That's all I've got.
we had some neighbors. I just moved in this neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And, we had some little goofy guys down here. I reckon they like to lie a lot, but they told me the highway patrol was after somebody with their helicopter was coming at night, and all that happened to run together, you know.
Right.
I would have shot them for a little bit. I heard the darn thing crash.
You heard it crash?
Yeah, but I couldn't find it. I looked for it for about probably 15 minutes and couldn't find it.
Like, did you think it was a plane or a car? Or
No, I thought it was a car.
A car.
I thought it was. My neighbor had an old car over here that was kind of loud, and I thought it was it. But it shocked me so bad, you know, I didn't, all that after it actually happened.
Right.
But what had happened when we heard it crash, it sounded as if a car was already running down the highway.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't hear it, you know, it just, John Lamb, just a minute. John Lamb, get out here and shut up. It sounded as if somebody had just cranked it, and it running wide open, and then it cut right back off, and then it cranked again, and then it started sounding like a car having a wreck, you know, sliding in gravel.
Right.
But we looked for it, couldn't find it, and then went on back to the hayfield. And then I left a lot of guys, other black guys, and came back over by my house, putting out some hay, and it was about dark. And that's when the rescue guys from, I think they were from Raceland, Louisiana, with the Coast Guard.
Right.
They had came up here by then. They were here pretty quick. They knew the plane was going down before it actually went down, or knew they was having trouble. And anyway, when it went off radar, I think they said it was Houston was picking it up. And when it went off radar, they got in there, but they were here quick. They were here before I knew anything about it. You know,
That's fast.
after we couldn't find it, we went back to the field. Like I say, it wasn't very long, and they were here. And I didn't know what in the world was going on. He was just hovering all around us. And
So he was looking for the crash, or the crash site itself. He didn't find it quite then.
he said he could pick it up on the on radar,
Right. Or, yeah, okay.
but he couldn't find it. It was in real tall timber. It was in some company land timber,
Mm-hmm.
and it was pretty tall pine timber. He couldn't see it. It was about dark. It was dark enough that when he was turning his spotlights on, his searchlights, looking for it. But then he circled me a few times, and then probably 5 minutes after he was circling, then I saw them. They started running after a truck. And I kind of got my gun then, you know. They never tell me what was going on, you know. I kept asking them, what's going on, what's going on? They wouldn't say anything. They were in shock, I guess. And I almost shot them. They came to my house. And I told them, man, y'all better go to talking. And they wouldn't say anything, so I shot in there. I told them, I said, you better start talking. And when I shot in the air, they already hollered, we had a plane crash. And then when he told me that, I just turned and ran to the phone because I knew, you know, I knew it was a plane crash after he said that.
Right.
Because we couldn't find that car wreck. But anyway, it kind of went from there. We ran around here trying to find it for a little while. He was all boogered up pretty bad.
Did he guide you to where the plane?
He couldn't. No, he told me he crossed a brook, he said, and I knew there was a little creek down there in the corner. And like I say, I just bought this place. I wasn't real familiar with it, but I knew about where he was talking, and when I went down, I could smell it.
Oh, you could smell it?
I could smell it, a quarter of a mile away.
Wow.
And then when I got down there, I couldn't find it, and then finally, as a rescue chopper was flying over, I saw it glitter in the dark, and then I knew where it was, and then after a few minutes, I was going to cross the creek over to it, and then I got to smelling those fumes real bad, and I thought, it ain't going to burn me up, you know. I came back up here to get some help, and then when we got down there, we found them. Well, first thing we heard when we got down there was to hear them crying, you know, the second time. I didn't hear anything when I went down there the first time,
but the second time you heard them...
Yeah, there was... The first guy we got out, I don't know who he was. He was cut pretty bad on the chest, but he was hanging upside down in the wiring up under the plane, which I think was the top of the plane. It was on the bottom, I believe.
Okay.
It was just a big jumble mess, you know. We couldn't tell really which end was which.
So you actually helped pull bodies out?
I didn't. Well, I got up there to help them, and I'm not too much of a person on handling dead people, you know.
Yeah, okay.
I told them y'all can have it after I saw the first dead one. I got out.
Oh, so you actually did see a body?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what he was doing, I tell you, he was like he might have been a quarter of a mile off of the highway, and he was flying parallel with the highway, and it was a wide highway. It wasn't an interstate system or anything, you know. It was just a two-lane road, but it was real wide.
Wide enough for him to land on, right?
Oh, man, it was plenty wide for him to land it on because they built it about 15 years ago, and you know, since then they started building pretty wide roads.
Right.
He just didn't land on it, I don't know. And he was flying real slow. Everybody I talked to said he was just flying real slow, going over all the highways. And, I just don't know why. But I heard the darn thing. I heard him cranking it 3 times before it actually crashed.
What, trying to start it?
Yeah, but see, I didn't remember any of that for a long time.
Right.
It dawned on me later, you know, that I remembered hearing that thing cranking and dying right off. He would crank it and it would die, crank it and it would die. That's why I thought it was a car wreck, you know. I thought it was my neighbor trying to fool his old car, and then when it went to crashing it. It was a terrible sound. It really sounded as if it was a piece of metal or anything. You ever heard metal roofing dropped on the end? It makes a rumbling sound.
Mm-hmm.
It had a little deep rumbling sound about what it was. And then I could hear a few limbs popping, which is what sounded like, you know, a car skidding in gravel. That's why we thought it was a wreck. It was pretty spooky. All those black guys went down there with me like they passed out.
Yeah, right. They
were pretty upset. When I got back down there the second time, I took a bunch of people with us, and it got seriously traffic jammed around here. They had to shut the interstate system off, all the exits, to keep people from coming here. There were so many cars.
Just what, rubberneckers or?
Yeah, well, people came from like Pascagoula and Biloxi, and
just to see this?
Yeah, they drove like 3 hours to see it. You know, I guess they were young people that were apparently planning on going to the concert or whatever, but
yeah,
there was people from everywhere here. There was traffic down the highway. We live on a state highway, and there was traffic probably 3/4 of a mile up and down, you know, going in both directions on both sides of the road, and my fields were all full. There was news crews from everywhere here. Well, I think there was 5 different helicopters here with news crews.
Did you know at the time? I guess not. At the time, were you like a fan of Lynyrd Skynyrd?
No, I'd have never paid him any attention.
You never paid him no attention up until the plane crash, I guess.
Yeah, because then they got my attention.
So when he said, you know, like Artimus Power, you never clued in it was Lynyrd Skynyrd until like the day after or that night.
When it happened, you know, it all dawned on me, but I never listened to him. I really never paid any attention to any of the music to mount anything. I listened to a lot of it, but running this dairy, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to anything at the time pertaining to music. You know, when they crashed, they must have all been pretty high, because
why's that?
He already told me that he was trying to tell them that. Well, Artie told me, this was like a day or two after the crash, that he was always, when they would fly, he was interested in flying planes, and he was starting to fly them or what have you.
Yeah.
He says that he would he would be up with the pilot and the co-pilot in the cockpit, you know, when they were flying a lot of times, and he said he was up there when it started trying to quit on them, and they told him to go to the back of the plane, the tail section, because they were going down, and he said he didn't take them serious, and said the guy said, I'm serious, go back there and tell everybody to go to the tail section. And he said he went back there and tried to tell them all, and he said, did he ever tell you this?
I've heard rumors to this effect, but...
And he told me that he told them to all go to the back of the plane, and they all kind of laughed at him when he told them they were crashing, you know. I think.
They all didn't take him seriously.
No, they didn't take him seriously.
They all thought it was a big joke.
Yeah.
And
it tore the bottom of the plane out. Have you talked to anybody else, Dwayne or any of them?
I talked to Dwayne.
What did he have to say? He's kind of quiet, isn't he?
Actually, he was very open with me about it.
He was?
Yep.
You talked to him tonight?
Yep, just before I called you.
Yeah. Dwayne actually helped get them out, you know.
Yeah, he was
down in there getting them out.
And he was saying some things that were really
yeah, they were tough.
yeah, tough to hear, let alone imagine being there, you know.
Yeah, there was one guy that was a road crew member that I remember. That's the one I saw that was killed.
Dean Kilpatrick, yeah.
Yeah, Dean, and his name was Dean. He had a piece of angle iron stuck through him. Stopped would have took the plane when it was coming into the trees. It apparently tore the bottom out of those trees, out of the plane.
Right.
There's no it scattered stuff, I'm sure, all over the woods. I know it did. My brother-in-law was a pilot too, and he said when those things crash, he said it'll scatter stuff everywhere. It just does weird things, he said. But you can still find things down there, you know. We went down there.
No, really?
Yeah, we went down there and was digging around with a stick one day, just fooling around, and found my nephew was with me as an older guy. He found a 6-pack holder, you know, the plastic on them.
Yeah.
And we was real gentle with it and dug all around it and found a beer can in the other end of it. And the seal had never been popped off, but the bottom was tore off of the beer can. Yeah, and then I found a prescription eyeglass lens. I don't know who that was.
Oh, jeez.
I know it shouldn't have been down there, you know. It was way off in the swamp, but I feel like it was somebody's on that plane.
It could have been quite a few people's.
Yeah. We found a lot of little things. We found a lot of metal. I gave different people pieces of metal.
And he gave me
many times about writing a book, but I said if I hadn't acted a fool, got a gun, you know, I might would have done it, but I shoot, I just let it go. I had people years ago try to get me to write a book. Some guys that were writing books. But, yeah.
150 feet from your property, man. I mean, jeez, you could throw a rock that far.
Oh yeah, easy. It wasn't. I doubt it was. It may not have been that far. Yeah, it was just a big mess though that night. I was, I think, 22 years old. You know, couldn't think straight anyway.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It really threw me into a tailspin. It was a big mess. The National Guard was out here. They came out to help with it.
Well, other than Artimus and Ken and Mark, I believe, what would be your,
Yeah, they came up to my house.
yeah, that would obviously be your first memory when someone mentions the crash.
Yeah, the first time they came up in the field where I was, you know, and then when that helicopter was hovering over, and I came down here. Well, when I came down here, I had some kids with me, and I put them out, and I got my deer rifle and was going to go back. Well, when I came out, they were here, and then they were really acting odd, you know, like they were drugged. But anyway, after I found out all that, I ran inside the call and told the hospital, you know, to send all the ambulances out here that they had. And then I went back out there, and there was a gigantic fire going in a 55-gallon barrel. I had burned feed bags in. And later I asked my nephew, he was about 10 years old, asked him who built that fire in there, and he said that guy that was on that plane. I said, and later I asked my nephew, he was about 10 years old, asked him who built that fire in there, and he said that guy that was on that plane. I said, what? He built a big fire in there. I said, he took some stuff and put over in there. Yeah, he said he was using it trying to drop the helicopter down, but he was burning stuff. That you said, you know, that he had.
Burning,
weed, you know. It wasn't Artimus, it was one of the other ones.
Wow.
It was the one that wasn't hurt.
From what I...
There's no telling what went on there. Artie came in here, and I think my wife said he called his wife, wanted her to know, you know, he was alive.
Yeah.
Before it got on the broadcast. Well, I'm sure it was on the air by then, but he told her he was at a little farmhouse. See, that was another thing. We were in the hayfield, and we had no idea that the plane had crashed. Everybody was out looking for the plane, and we didn't know it. If we'd have knew it, we'd have knew right where it was before dark.
Right.
It happened right before dark. But, you know, we weren't familiar with planes, and then thinking it was a car wreck. Everybody, when I got down there that second time, I talked to some of those guys, and they said they had been hunting that thing for 30 minutes, you know.
For 30 minutes?
It came on like 30 minutes before on TV. Everybody was watching TV, saw it down around us. We weren't.
Wow. Yeah, like, if you don't mind my asking, you have any, like, flashbacks or anything like that, or?
No, it doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother you?
I can see everything down there, you know.
Yeah.
It'll always be a picture in my mind. I won't never forget.
I guess not.
I can still see everything. Whoever that guy was, we got out of that wiring harness. I remember he was crying, and the first one, you know, and then he wanted something to drink, some liquor. I told him, man, I told him, you better lay over there and hope you don't bleed to death.
That was the chest wound?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Leon.
Yeah, I believe that's who it was.
Leon, yeah. He almost died. Actually, he did die 3-4 times.
Really?
On the operating table.
He was cut up pretty bad. It looked like a bear jumped him.
Yeah. And he was messed up real good.
Yeah, that was him.
So it didn't even look like a plane.
No, you couldn't tell it was a plane. Really, you couldn't. The only thing you could tell it was a plane was the tail section. I don't remember even seeing a wing. It was torn up. It was just a big jumbled mess.
Wow.
You know, you see pictures of planes crashing and burning on TV, but this didn't look like any of that. You know, it was when those happen, it's usually a structure there, but there wasn't a structure there. It was, down here, it was just a big pile.
And it wasn't a small plane. It was
a big plane.
Yeah, it was a big plane, yeah.
Yeah, I never realized it was that big, and my brother-in-law was in the Army, and I say the pilot, and he showed me which one it was. He showed me the one just like it, red, white, and blue one.
Oh, yes, that's the one thing I've never asked. What, do you happen to recall what color it was?
Yeah, it was red, white, and blue.
Red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Red, white, and blue. I do know it had the Freebird on the front of it.
I couldn't tell any of that, you know. I couldn't see anything.
No, I was dark. I do know that.
There's still insulation, you know, the insulation that they put in the walls and stuff. That
Yeah.
it's scattered everywhere down there now.
Really?
Yeah, I always wondered why that thing didn't blow up, you know, on fumes, but I guess...
It had less than 1 quart of jet fuel on board.
There must have just been a lot of fumes in that thing in the wings, the reason for me to smell it.
Or hydraulic fluid, or, you know, the way he mentioned, he smelled quite a few things too, like hydraulic fluid.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was, yeah.
He said that's what he smelled, hydraulic fluid. But there was no fuel. The FAA report says less than 1 quart.
I remember I found a battery down there that was bashed into the tree. So I'm sure that had a good bit of odor there too when it was cracked open. That chopper scattered the fumes, you know, everywhere.
Yeah.
That's one reason you smelled it out.
Yep.
It was a real odd smell. It was really... I tell you, what was so weird is that song they have, that smell.
Yep, the smell of death around you.
Look, that was weird, because that was a weird smell. And I'd never heard that song before then.
And that song, came out 5 days before the plane crash.
I'm telling you, that was a weird smell. I'll never forget that. It smelled... I told someone it smelled like fresh blood to me, you know. It was just an odd smell. I've been around slaughterhouses before, and it's just an odd smell like that. And it was, a lot of it may have been, you know, the insulation may have been molded and all that.
Right.
The fumes and everything. But it was odd.
Whoa. And there's still stuff laying there, like insulation?
Yeah, there's stuff scattered around. You have to look for it, you know, like I say, it's grown all up, but it's there. So they buried a lot of it. They took the major parts out and then dug a hole and then buried the rest. One guy came out here a couple of years ago and wanted to look, and I told him, man, you can't find anything there. And he went in there and found a darn door in the creek.
You found a what?
The door. The
cargo door?
Yeah, part of the door in the door. Well, it was just a part of the door, but it was all the hinge assembly that held it on.
Wow.
It was all in the creek. The little creek's not a big creek, you know, it's just a little small one.
Mm-hmm.
But it was in that mud and stuff, and he just happened to find it.
Man.
Saw something and dug around it and pulled it up, and that's what it was.
That's amazing. Yeah.
All right, well, if you need anything else, just give me a call.
Thank you so much.
All right, man, we'll talk to you later.
Okay.
All right, goodbye.
Bye-bye.